Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to embrace this topic of technology in audit, especially today's topic, which is the hot buzzword at the moment, AI. So just by way of formal introduction, my name is Thwaits, and I am the EY Africa Assurance Innovation and Digital Leader. I'm also a registered auditor, sometimes I think for my sins, and I've got a client portfolio across the mining and retail industry. Right, so today's topic is really going to be all about AI and especially the impact of it in our profession, the audit. Now, AI is not a disruptor, it is a transformative force. For example, if you look on the screen on the left at the top, it took Netflix around 3.5 years to reach 100 million users, whereas at the bottom of this picture, you'll find that ChatGPT only took 5 days. Now, the impact of AI on our professions and organizations will be significant. So looking at where we are in the technology evolution today and how far we've come in transforming the audit profession digitally, if you look at the far left, many of our processes in this profession was paper-based, and that was just over 10 years ago. Now, if we fast forward a little bit to where we are today, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge our accomplishments, and that is really the ability to obtain large amounts of data. Now, the challenge has been our ability to interpret these amount of data. And if you think about it, we're able to visualize, we're able to build rules, but I'm not just talking about the risks that we know. So knowing to look for duplicates, missing information, areas where we know we need to look out for. So as a human, it's just impossible to sift through all these data points. And so today, with Gen AI, we have a significant opportunity to close this gap even further. So I'm not going to get too technical today, especially with these terms, but I do want to spend just a quick moment capturing a very high-level overview of what exactly AI is. Now, this picture I like because it encapsulates in a picture what we mean and sort of these broad terms in the market. Now, as you can see on the right, AI forms quite a few capabilities. Some are more familiar than others, but if you think of AI and think of it as any type of computer science that can perform tasks typically performed by a human or that would require human intelligence. So this can span from robotic process automation to machine learning, and of course now with the breakthrough technology, which is generative AI. So in summary, if you think of Gen AI, what makes it so special is that it creates new data. And with that, a lot more new opportunities. It is not just ChatGPT. It is so much more. So as you can see here, there are so many. And this is only to name a few. Options of technology that can generate text. So on the far left, think about the one that we're familiar with is GPT. We've got new image generations, new video generations, as well as audio generations. So one that I'm particularly interested in is this code generation there on the right. And if Microsoft, I think about towards the end of last year, already reported that over 45% of the current code is generated by generative AI. And to bring it back to an example where I experienced this firsthand, is we were embarking on a project a couple of years ago to automate our audit reporting process. And think about it, right at the end of the audit, the pressure is high, stress levels are high, there's not a lot of time to get this right. And often we make mistakes in that space and we can't afford to make these mistakes. So we've been able to identify over 2,500 variations of auditors' report.
So, sometimes nothing happens and sometimes everything happens all at once and you just got to deal with it. And it's also just strange to both be extremely worried about different things and have your anxiety levels like peak.
Now, this was just a short video from Microsoft Microsoft, showing you what Vaza 1 does. And the intent, according to Microsoft, is really to create a positive impact on society. And it's by enhancing educational equity and improving accessibility for individuals with communication challenges. Now, the next timeline, I just wanted to point out what really has happened in the last 18 months. And it is quite astonishing to see how ChatGPT has grown and kickstarted the Gen AI technology in various sectors. Now, although GPT was one of the popular ones in the beginning, as you can see here, almost all of the big tech companies are now launching their own generative AI tools. Last year in September, just short after a year when ChatGPT was launched, we launched our own EYQ environment, which is basically our own ChatGPT in our private environment. And the advantage here for us is that we can keep our data and our information private whilst using APIs from external. So in other words, we can do research, we can obtain information, but whatever we put in ChatGPT remains in our secured environment. And then EYQ assurance is one that I'm very, very passionate about, because this is now really customizing our ChatGPT equivalent on top of our audit methodology and accounting methodology. So think about it, having almost like a co-pilot in your audit engagement file. So instead of going to your methodology or clicking I buttons to read up or search for it, you can actually now do research much faster in your audit files and also much accurately. So I think, things like this is going to progress much faster in this space. We also see that with our tax colleagues, that we're looking at doing similar customizations where we build this technology on top of our tax act, including various tax laws, and we're trying to do research in that way a little bit faster. So it's quite phenomenal how fast we are moving in this direction. Now, with people, and specifically skills, I really just want to focus for a brief moment on these deep skills. So what I mean with this is in terms of building complex AI models. Now, we see it sort of in two ways. There's the use of AI, and that's where we're going to spend a lot of our time today. But for now, I just want to focus on building these complex AI models, because the sudden exponential wave of AI has created a significant shortage of skills in this technology space. And that is really everyone is racing towards creating that first golden solution. And having these experienced skills is a must, because we want to get that result quicker. So if you're in the recruiting space, you will quickly notice how scarce these skills are becoming. And so I would like to bring this as an opportunity for us in the CA profession to explore new resource models, different opportunities, where we want to try and close this gap a little bit, and also give us the opportunity to be at the forefront. So looking at programs where CAs can participate in growing their skill set in the space is going to be critical, as we really want to create pools of excellence instead of having pockets of excellence. Now, if we look at people from a broad perspective, unlike any other technology, AI does not just impact a select group of people. Instead, it touches every single one of us. It ripples across all the industries, all the professions, across different departments, different roles, and it will fundamentally transform how we operate as well as how we communicate. And so people want to have an improved working experience by being enabled and encouraged to use this technology that makes their lives a bit easier and makes them more efficient. And so talking about that better output. Now, last year we did a survey, and this was across many different companies, sectors, and the intention was really to see where's the people sitting versus where's the employer sitting. And if you look on the slide, Around 49% of the people, 22 is using it, but we're only seeing half of the people still plan to use one of these solutions at their work in the next 12 months. Whereas from an employer perspective, there's an 84% plan of use. So there's definitely a gap in this space, and hence why we need to dive in a little bit deeper. Now, if we look at the next graph, in considering the reasons for the slow adoption, it is really also around accessibility of these technologies, as well as the education and having appropriate governance in this space. Now, without making this graph a bit complex, but if you can look at the bottom, up until ChatGPT 3, adoption has been slow, but we know why. It was because it was quite costly, but also complex to adopt. But more importantly, the technology still had a lot of work to be done. There was a lot of market news around coming up with the wrong solutions, had errors in it. We hear about the bias in this data. So there was quite a little bit of a hesitation in that space. What we're seeing now is around education. So education is going to be important as to how we use it when we adopt it. I often ask my trainees in my firm, who have used it, when do you use it? And in our profession, specifically in the audit profession, it's almost like we want permission to use it. When I discuss with people, they're not sure, are we allowed? What can we use? And also, when can we use this? So talking to schools, universities, everyone's trying to understand what are the skills that we need in this space. How do we upskill our people? Because it's not just going to be in a particular curriculum. It's going to be across the universities, across different curriculums that we see. So if we look at the next slide, embracing these technologies will have really the potential to enhance our own CA profession's brand. We want to be attractive and we want to be positioned with a reputation as job creators instead of job disruptors. As the World Economic Forum suggested, AI can create many more new jobs than it eliminates. So, for example, the prompt engineer is a role that didn't even exist 18 months ago. And I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I came across two very interesting roles. One was the AI personality designer. Now, this is quite a cool role because this is someone that's skilled, that can take an AI model and design it in a way that it fits an organization's culture. And we see this with these different types of GPTs coming in with Meta AI, Gemini. It really wants to attract and target a certain type of group. And so this person can make these models and make it fit and feel that it's part of your organization.